So I went to the University of Southern California, and at the time the dean was doing a huge encouragement to promote the university on YouTube. And so they held a YouTube competition, which basically was open to all students and candidates. And there was cash prizes, which was the incentive to kind of go all out on it. And for myself, it was kind of understanding what it meant to be a viral video and how to best kind of capture that market within the realm of architecture. I tried to kind of highlight studio culture within the video itself by kind of doing a quirky dancing video. And the first round, it was extremely successful, but because it was a little out of the realm of traditional architecture kind of stodginess, it got runner-up. And so the second year, they had another competition, and I went at it again, and I got second place, which was a cash reward, which was nice. But in both videos, it crushed the YouTube video count list, and the first one got about 25,000 views on its own. The second one, I did a little bit more of a PR push, and we just pushed over 110,000 views. Which I'm quite proud of, but definitely the first thing you find when you Google me. I chose to go to the University of Southern California as kind of a way to be a little bit of an adventure. My family, we predominantly grew up here in the Midwest, and I kind of wanted to give a different city a new perspective and a new look on what architecture is in the US and how it can be achieved. USC is actually in the heart of downtown Los Angeles, and it's a city that definitely has a lot of urban problems and architectural challenges, and so to kind of use that as the playground for experimentation with our studio projects was extremely beneficial to my career and kind of my mindset. On the other hand, too, Los Angeles, when I was in school, was kind of the gateway to the East, and so I studied abroad in Asia, going to all of the major urban cities, including Tokyo, Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Seoul. And with that being said, there's just so much experimentation in the world of architecture over there, and it really opened my mind and kind of gave me a curiosity to keep learning more. So I think my West Coast education has given me the ability to challenge new design conceptions and ultimately how we can bring more creative energy to Chicago and once again be that city that kind of sparked from imagination and creativity. So in my study abroad adventure throughout Asia, we had the ability to see a lot of really interesting large urban scale projects. A lot of these kind of have spun off from Rem Koolhaas with OMA for his ability to kind of challenge what the pre-connotation is for the public realm and how people understand program and how program is actually dispersed through the building itself. I would argue though that one of my favorite architects is probably Stephen Hall, because he takes the principles that Rem uses at OMA and finds kind of creative and fun ways to allow those to be expressive. So the hybrid link building in Beijing was one of the more interesting projects that I've seen. I don't know if it's 100% successful, but he took this kind of public realm and placed it many stories off the ground and created this huge public area that was kind of this lofted program in the sky. And so having that ability to kind of blend urbanism and architecture is something that I really like exploring myself, and I think he does a really unique way of approaching it, and his intentions in his projects are very strong. With my legacy, I hope to kind of just challenge conventional ways of looking at the built form and how cities and streets are defined to ultimately create spaces that the user ultimately benefits and the city gets more character and has the ability to grow and expand and keep challenging. So this is an extremely challenging question for me because I guess with the terminology of foodie, there isn't just one restaurant that hits the nail on the head for everything. So I'm probably going to break it down a little bit, not to have favoritism for one restaurant in particular. And you also have to understand the classifications of each meal that you partake in. So brunch is its own category and starts the weekend most times. So my favorite brunch in the city is Longman and Eagle, hands down. They do a fried chicken and waffle with a sweet potato hash. And I think there's pork belly in there as well. And it's all very, very good. And then you douse it in maple syrup and it all comes together quite nicely. For dinner, my favorite restaurant actually recently just closed, and that was Nightwood, which was in the Pilsen area. I would say a close runner-up is Trencherman, located in Wicker Park. The atmosphere is extremely classy, but also very down-to-earth, and the food, everything that I've gotten has been quite fantastic. I think the duck is one of my favorite things on the menu. For a bar, because you always need a classy cocktail, Billy Sunday in Logan Square is most likely my favorite bar. The level of craft in each of those cocktails is fantastic, and their old fashioned is unmatched in Chicago. And then of course Brewery, because Chicago is such a beer city. Half Acre Brewery is one of my favorite, and I've had the honor to work on one of their projects in which they are expanding, and hopefully that means more beer for all. And yeah, so that's kind of the lowdown. Oh, and coffee. You can't forget coffee shop. Favorite coffee shop in the city is Wormhole. And the reason why is it has this extreme retro theme, extremely hipster, but their craft dinner cup that they do is fantastic. And whenever you have an old school Nintendo playing in the back, it's pretty cool.